We talk about like rich people just taking advantage of people and trying to be in the spotlight and trying to be more important than everybody else and not, taking care of people, because every day people need to be taken care of. And right now there's a big thing happening where people need to be taken care of, and they need their rights, and they need opportunities, and they need money, and they need an equal share, because that's a big deal. And that leads me to our featured story of the night. Let's get it. All right, everybody, I want to dive into the big thing for today that everyone's talking about. It's on everyone's news media, and that is the SAG-Aftra strike. And you're probably wondering to yourself, like, why are they striking? What's happening to Hollywood? Why am I not getting my TV shows? Why am I not getting my movies? Like, what's happening? Why is Hollywood fighting? Are the actors being greedy? Are the producers being greedy? What's happening? Let me break this down for you a little bit. We want to talk about this because as a card-carrying member of SAG-Aftra, I support this strike fully, and I believe this is It's a card-carrying member. And I feel like this is a very good thing that they're doing because,
members?
I mean, I don't know, FICOR people? I don't know, FICOR people. But anyways, so break it down for a second. I want to break down some of the main points of why there's a strike happening. The first thing is just pay. So it's a 3-year contract. And normally they set up, 1, 2, 3, we're getting this percentage this year, that percentage this year, that percentage that year. So SAG-Aftra asked for 11% raise the very first time. And they wanted a 4% the second year and a 4% the third year. And the producers said, no, we'll give you 5% the first year, 3% or 4% the second year, and 3.5% the third year. Very big difference in the numbers. But SAG-Aftra is saying that we need that 11% raise right now because of inflation, because after all these contracts, we haven't had a significant raise and the cost of living has gone up. So we need a big boost the first year. And then we have raises that are smaller the following years, as we always do. But, AMPTP is like, no, that's not normal. We're giving you monumental with 5%. Normally, it's about a 3% raise the first year, which has been nothing. And our last president really didn't care, signed it, called it a day, square rooted that bitch and called it a day. And, she went home. That's what it was. So that's a big thing. AI is a big thing. And you've heard that on the news. Why are you worried about AI? Well, they're leaving principal and background actors in the dust, invulnerable. The one clause in the contract was this. They were able to scan background people for half a paycheck, $100, scan their likeness, and use it in perpetuity forever for $100.
Forever. And till the end of time on any project they want.
Ever. And what does that do? That means that those jobs go away. That's what they wanted to do.
Fuck you said, guys. Oh my God, that's huge.
Yeah. Fuck you. And that's why that was a big deal that they were like, and the producers are like, well, no, this is a monumental AI stuff. And it's like, it's not. And they're being very iffy about everything else. But that was the main fact that SAG-Aftra said they saw, and they told me I had to go, and they said no. And so that was a big thing on AI. There's a big deal. They want to also combine the East and West Coast contrast for background actors because they're totally different. So there's like one contract for both, which kind of makes sense. Doesn't matter where you are. Like New York get like night pay. And LA don't get night pay. So if you work after like 10 p.m. and you're working late into the night, you get extra money because you're working through the night. They don't do that in LA. So like stuff like that, they want to just make it even, make it normal, and have it across board. Even like when you think about like if someone has to go to set at 6 a.m. and they're in a shady area, because that happens. They shoot in weird locations. These actors have to sit in their cars or in a weird area where they could get abducted or something, and that's a worst case scenario. But they ask the producers, we want to be able to give them like better places with security to take care of them in these situations. So that was like one thing. And also for background things, and people that I know that have been fighting for this, like double duty. You work 2 jobs, you should get 2 paychecks, I think. If you're doing background, you're being a stand-in, you should also get a paycheck for both. They said, no way, we're not doing that. When actors are covering other actors, background are upgraded to cover actors. They said we should get at least half a paycheck, if not a full paycheck as an actor. You're acting in this scene, you're working it out. They were like, no, we'll give them $150 and call it a day. But you're acting in this scene, you're wearing the wardrobe, you're doing the whole job that an actor does, and they refuse doing that. Those are big things that happen.
That's so exploitative, Brian. They're just saying we can get everything that we possibly can out of you, like, and not compensate you as to the function that you're performing in the production. Like,
it's true.
I'm sorry, I haven't looked into this level of specifics. Like, that shit blows me away, dude.
And even the residuals thing, if you go back to like, before with all the contracts, we had regular primetime TV, right? They have all these residuals set up because the way the job is as an actor, like they want people to be working as a full-time profession. That's why residuals came into play. Been agreed upon over and over again by the AMPTP and SAG-Aftra, over and from SAG to AFTRA.
Residuals started when Ronald Reagan was president.
1960. And that's the thing. And it was the idea of making it not a gig job. And with streaming, it's become a gig job. Now there's no residuals for most of these actors. And again, they're giving their paycheck and that's it. And they asked for less than 1%. It's like 0.97% of the CEO's gross income from the project for the actor. And they said, go fuck yourself. Because they don't want to share their profits. When they're making billions of dollars, they want to share less than 1% with the actors to give them residuals to carry them through on hiatuses, and when they want to hold them on contracts because they don't want to go anyplace else, they ask them for that too. Well, that we release them from your contract so during the hiatus they can work someplace else. And a lot of these companies said no, we want to keep them so they don't work anyplace else. So when we start back up, we have them ready and available. And they're like, well, then we need to pay them. We need to pay them residuals. And they said, no, that's a big thing. And it's like, how do you work? How do you support yourself? How do you support your family if you don't have that income coming in? You can't. And if you don't know, most actors jump from job to job to job. If you're not on a regular thing, you work 5 shows in 1 week, then you barely make your bills paid. And that's a big deal. And the AMPTP says they gave up monumental things, and really they did not, if you think about it. And it's like, and are they far apart? Yeah, they're far apart. Now, will AMPTP actually sit down and work this out? I don't know. As Sabrina said too, there's like 39 indie projects that are getting waivers. They can keep shooting. A24, she said, 2 projects. They're saying they're truly indie, but A24 will sell to a studio, so that kind of seems like BS.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise was acting.
That.
Yeah, Tom Cruise was acting for them to be able to do press during this time too. That's not right.
The only thing is about the A24 thing is they are adhering to the latest proposal that SAG proposed to the AMPTP. So they're paying the raise, they're paying they're paying for all the things that SAG is asking for. Now, once it's all said and done, it will be adjusted to whatever they agree upon. But right now, they're doing what SAG is asking.
So that's not seen as crossing the picket line, then, right?
I mean, I guess not, because they're giving them waivers. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense to me. That's great. That's great. Oh, I'm happy because I love A24. To hear them continuing production and being ethical about it, that's great.
I agree 100% with what Brian's saying, because that will go to a studio and they will reap the benefits of that, which is annoying. But at the same time, what they're saying is that SAG is it'll show AMPTP, because they are not associated with AMPTP at the moment, these things are not outlandish, that these things are attainable, and they are, not asking for the fucking world. They'll adhere to these things as an independent company, as should you, a multi-billion-dollar fucking company who's paying their CEOs hundreds of millions of fucking dollars, while you're leaving people to wait for their apartments to be fucking taken over, or their houses to be fucking put in foreclosure. So, I mean, I get that to an extent. And also on Tom Cruise, sorry not to jump in, Brian, but
get in there.
On the Tom Cruise thing is he basically was done with, I thought it was press for the new Mission Impossible, but he is done with press for Mission Impossible. And he basically was advocating for this for movie theaters and for the movie going experience. It didn't benefit him personally at all, but I was saying before, about how you don't want movie theaters to go away or go under or disappear, and you still want to have that experience. He's
fighting for it.
If you allow people to do press for things that they've already shot, and it's not breaking the contract, as far as shooting is concerned, it will help keep revenue up for movie theaters and for people spending money on the industry that's not related to shooting and giving money to the AMPTP directly, although revenue does give money to the AMPT directly. But things that are already, he was basically advocating for the continuation of the movie going experience.
Yeah, it's a lot, and there's that whole Ron Perlman thing too, which was hilarious.
Oh, that was amazing.
You saw that, Mike.
Amazing.
Sabrina sent it to me, but Ron Perlman was talking about how that whole thing came out. We talked about on the show too about how, what's the AMPTP strategy for the WGA? Well, they were saying, we're going to wait till they lose all their money, they lose their apartments, and then they have to sign whatever deal we have.
Of course.
Messed up, right? Well, Ron Perlman went out there and he said, oh, really? Well, there's lots of ways to lose your house, financially, of course. You don't have the money, you lose your apartment. But that producer who said this, and I know who you are, you can also lose your house if it gets burned down.
I knew that's what you were going to say. I knew it was going to be a direct threat like that.
He did not say those words.
It was very
Did he imply?
He said there are many ways to lose your house. One way is financial, another way is karma, and another way is just finding out who the fuck said that and finding out where the fuck they live. He didn't specifically say anything about any way that the house was going to go away. Do not put Ron Perlman into the fucking oven. It's not fair. That man.
He talked about it burning down. He talked about burning down.
No, he didn't. He did not. He did not.
It's
I've watched it 15
times,
watched again. He didn't say that.
In the discussion, it's referred to as stochastic terrorism, meaning putting your idea into the minds of crazy people to make your targets nervous.
But who doesn't light threat us every fucking day about how you're not going to have your medical insurance?
That's a good point. I don't feel that bad.
You know what I mean? Like it's fuck off. Like I don't care. And good for him. Good for him.
Ron Perlman's great like that. Really, every time you turn around, he's saying some great shit.
Good for him. Hellboy, Sons of Anarchy. But when he said that shit, he was like,
Chris.
Motherfucker. When he said that shit, I was shaking in my boots. I was like, oh my God. And if I was that person, I would have been shaking in their boots. Because I don't know who it is. He apparently knows, but I don't know.
He's a real keeper. He's a real one, that guy.
But way to speak out and fucking say, like, how fucking dare you? Like, because no one else, I mean, I could say that all day. No one's going to fucking listen. Like, good for him.
There's a lot of actors coming forward. Like we got, Jason Sudeikis right here out there picketing. I mean, there's a lot of people going out there just telling people that we need to stand up for people. It's time for things to change. And it is. Like, the thing is, before, it has been years. And I've said this multiple times, the contracts come through and they get ratified. And I'm like, they say monumental every time the AMPTP, monumental. And SAG-Aftra has said that in the past. It's never been like our last contract. Back in 2020, I will still say this, it was the best time ever. They could have worked something out and made it happen where we didn't have, like,
but we
all
had
this happening now.
For president. We had basically Meghan Markle might as well have been our president. Thank you, Gabrielle Contieras, for doing fucking nothing and being a fucking loser, fucking compliant cunt because you're a fucking producer. So fuck off. I'm glad you're not president anymore. And Fran Drescher is my full blessing to be as amazing as you're being and standing up for people's rights and standing up for background artists' rights and for standing up for stand-ins' rights, because that is what makes up most of SAG. Most of SAG are people who are not, like the Tom Cruises are making up like 1% of SAG. And like the people who are doing background crosses and standing in and covering for actors and covering for day players who they don't want to fucking pay or stand-ins, they make up most of fucking SAG. And she is actually going in there and standing up for the little people. But the little people make up the entirety pretty much of the fucking union. And that is unheard of. And that other bitch from 90210 who had one part ever and she was the least liked person on the show thinks that she can just walk in there in her bathrobe and be like, oh, I don't want to argue. Let's just sign stuff. I don't care. Fuck you. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. I'm glad you're not president anymore. I'm super, super fucking stoked that you have left the fucking building. And please don't ever come back because no one likes you.
No. No.
Hey,
goodbye, Gabby.
Go fuck yourself.
Fuck off.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Bitch.
Mike, I mean, you used to work in the industry quite a bit too. You were out here before. What do you think about the contract news coming up? It's affecting everybody. You're hearing a lot about it in the news. And now you have a little bit more insight in this too. What do you think about this? Do you think it's right that SAG is standing up?
Yeah, man. Wow. What'd you say? They're asking for like 1%
of the gross profits.
11%.
That's for the actors in aggregate. Like
yes.
Yeah, like people that participate in the production of a commodity.
Should get
like
part
if
of
it
profits.
follows, like the rest is capitalism competition. Like they helped produce the fucking thing. You get a taste of the fucking honey. Like, is it that goddamn tricky? Like, we're in Bananas universe. I think we've known that we're in Bananas universe for a number of years now. I don't know, Brian. I don't know what to say. Like, it's really surprising. I think that there's probably still a perception that that the working class actors. I don't know if this was you can tell me, Brian, was this always a term, working class actors? Because it might just be with the rise of podcasts and stuff, so that we're getting a little bit more of an internal view of the people in their work lives. Like, but the idea of working class actors, if it's always existed, right? Yeah. What's your response to that?
Yeah. I mean, it's always kind of existed. It just hasn't been brought to light a lot of times. Like I said, working class actors are like any kind of job. If you don't have a job to go to, if you're not working multiple jobs a week and without residuals, I mean, you're not going to pay your bills. It's not going to happen. Someone can be on TV like, oh, this person's freaking awesome, and they're so amazing, and they're barely getting by. And I mean, you go back to the days
the producers, right? Like if the producers, if the directors want to create like a quality product, they need people that are able to take care of their families, have their lives while focusing on what they want their profession to be, other than part-timers, right?
It's not supposed to be a part-time thing. If you want the quality of it, you want the people there, you have to pay them as if it's a regular job. That's the way it was set up. This is not supposed to be like I was going to say, like some kid's summer job that's doing this, this is supposed to be a profession. And it's always been said back in the 60s, back then, they used to actually hire people. They live on the lot and they would send them from production to production to production. That was how it worked to be an actor. But when it changed and they stopped doing those contracts, they changed this form, and this form made sense for forever, and the quality has always been good, but it starts going down when people can't pay. They change professions, you get less talented people, you get more, of course, it's becoming a thing in the days where we have like these celebrity influencers, and that's what it is. But I think that we're losing quality by cutting people's pay, and we're losing people who could be giving great performances and making your movies better by doing this. And you're not going to have show business if this keeps going, if we can't work a deal. Now, right now, Mike, they're saying this could go for 3 months. There's rumors that it might go towards all the way until February, which I don't think is true. I don't think it'll go that long.
Good.
But that's
I hope that the union can take care of people enough to hold and has the resources that it needs and continues to acquire the resources that it needs to hold out until they get everything that they want. Because they're pretending that the money's not there. And you really can't do that while you're continuing to expand the reach of your media conglomerate. Like the money's there, guys.
Money's there.
Give it to
you're making the money.
There
Creating.
used to be a different guild called Screen Extras Guild that was in play until 1990, and they were dissolved into SAG with an extreme fucking pay cut and an extreme lack of fucking bumps and like fucking financial fucking incentives, because SAG-Aftra basically threw them under the fucking bus for, again, the producers. So for you to like, the fact that happened is super fucked up. But the fact that after that happened, that we don't take care of our background actors like at all is like, it's unconscionable, honestly. The fact that you can say that a background actor can get scanned and used forever, like without any consent or any fucking compensation, like until the end of time by whatever studio scanned them, is ridiculous. These people are trying to make a living. They're trying to make their days and be able to get their medical insurance, which, by the way, is difficult for someone who is not on a repeat. Like as a stand-in, you work on a show. So if I work on a show that goes for 6 months, I'm going to work on that show for 6 months. It might not be every day, but I will be on that show for 6 months as a stand-in. Now, if I'm a background actor, maybe I'm working a party scene that goes for 3 days. And then when those 3 days are up, I have to go find another scene to go work on. Maybe I'm an office worker on another show for 1 day. And then maybe I am, a friend of somebody for a featured extra role for 1 day. And then maybe I go to somewhere where I'm a classmate in college for 2 weeks. But there's no guarantee. Like you have to keep hustling jobs and like hopefully make your medical insurance. Now, if you can scan me and use me however you want to use me and I'm a background actor, I'm fucked. I have zero possibility of being able to earn my medical insurance or use this as a career. So basically, you work on one set 1 day, and you're like, well, that's my career.
That's your career.
I'm going to go ahead and move on and be a tutor. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It is ridiculous. And it is, again.
Why would I pay for your medical insurance if I can just give you a $200 check and get you in perpetuity passing by the background?
There's like over 100,000 members of SAG, and most of them are in this position, which is not fucking fair. Like, how dare you? How dare you? And it's hard enough to be a background actor like that is like bouncing around from things. Like when I first moved out here, I did that. There would be I'd get off a job at like 6 in the morning
easy.
and then have
It's
to get to
not
another
that
job at
easy.
7 in the
No,
morning.
Not easy.
It's
Like
not.
I'd be late to a set after being up all night on another set because you know how long you're going to be there or what time your call time is going to be when you submit for something else. Or you have a call-in service that like books you on shit.
It's
Like,
kind of insane. It's kind of totally insane.
It is ridiculous. And
it's totally insane.
I mean, I stopped doing background like over 15 years ago. Like it's too much. But like, I applaud people who continue to do that regularly and continue to, you know, bounce around from set to set and try to, you know, do what they're doing. Like I was like, this is too much. I started standing in, which was amazing. And then obviously acting, voiceover, like whatever. Like I just like, I was like, I will never do background again. You are abused. You are treated like shit, first of all. Everyone talks to you like you're a cockroach, which is fucked up.
It sucks.
And then you get a different craft service. You get, even if you're SAG, you're supposed to be able to get the same craft service as everyone else. But oftentimes, especially on big shoots,
bananas and water.
Yeah, they get bananas and water. Yeah, and then a little bag of Doritos this big, and you know what I mean, like ridiculous shit. And they just treat you like shit. Everyone talks to you like shit. PAs talk to you like shit because they get talked to like shit, but from their superiors. Like it is just a hierarchy of fucking bullshit, and they get shit on. Like when you're on, if you're a background person who's lucky to be like on a show where you're like a regular, like you know, like on Bosch, which I worked on, we had a lot of background that were like police officers, so they were around all the time. They fucking loved it. They loved it. We knew that.
Yeah, the regular gigs are nice.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
But how rare is that? You know. I just think
yeah.
about showing up at a show, especially on a mass call when wardrobe is treating you like an asshole. The PAs are treating you like you have to go pee and they tell you to go fuck yourself. Your shoes are too loud. I mean, they're ridiculous things that they pick on you for. And it's like all of their frustrations from their jobs and their responsibilities trickle down to you, who makes the least amount of money out of anyone on set, a background performer. And
let's
so
pay them half a day's paycheck and scan them.
Yeah, but thank God that we have a president that is willing to stand up for the little person. Like that is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it blows my mind. It blows my mind, and I'm happy we have a president that's actually in a fight. Too. Like when Fran first got in, I was kind of skeptical, but like she's really been stepping up, and I applaud her for that too.
Me too.
I mean, buying a new building and actually using our funds and not just throwing $9 million away every year. You know what I mean? Like actually doing something good, and then fighting for the little person. I guess they call her the nanny negotiator. They're like really mad. AMPTP is because she's fighting for the little person.
Yeah,
I mean that's the bulk of the union, and we deserve to be fought for. It all needs to happen. And honestly, people, you should please support them. People try to twist the news and stuff like that. That's how it goes.
Not true.
I've already seen them being like, oh well, the actors are hurting all the venues and all the vendors and stuff like that. And I'm like, of course those are going to hurt. Although the craft service people, the caterers, the moving places, the rental houses, those are all going to suffer. But the AMPTP could fix this.
To be fair, the craft service workers, the grips, the electric department, all of those people make shit tons more money than a background actor or a stand-in makes. Like, and even the people who are working actors but not booking all the time, they make way more than that because those people are working on productions for 5 days a week, you know, every week for 6 months. So they all are in a better place than most people in SAG are. Aside from the Angelina Jolies and the Tom Cruises and the Jennifer Anistons and like, you know, and I'm sorry, I'm not throwing shade at anyone that I mentioned. Like, thank you. Congratulations for being famous. But my point is that most of the people in SAG are not making those kind of paychecks. And like even people that you might see and recognize, they're working, they could be working 20 days out of a year, you know, and they're making just enough to get by. So, you know, I'm sorry that a lot of people are out of work. I'm sorry, it sucks. But it mostly sucks for the people that they're really trying to fight for. You know, and this AI thing is fucking ridiculous, like for everyone involved. You know, and it's not fair. And and also all of those other unions that I mentioned are way better at managing their money and managing like they like
more
over
money
COVID
for the actors.
Didn't make people pay their dues. They didn't make people pay their medical insurance premiums.
Find you
like,
jobs.
They take care of their their members.
Yeah.
SAG doesn't do that. I hope that changes with Fran Drescher, but SAG doesn't fucking do that. You know, and WGA has a strike fund like that they are giving people, you know what I mean?
$20 million.
Like there are stipends and things, you know, they're doing things. SAG doesn't really have that, and that's unfortunate. But the fact that Fran Drescher is actually fighting for those people is amazing, and I respect and appreciate it. And I'm sorry that this is affecting all of these people and that it's a shit show, and that it's a problem. But like, you're never ever gonna enact change unless you take a stand. And you can't just like stand by and be someone's fucking whipping post.